San Francisco, 1872. Let's meet our main protagonists, three men whose lives intertwine in a tale of ambition and intrigue. First, there's Philip Arnold, the meticulous mastermind with a sharp eye for detail and a silver tongue for persuasion. In his mid-30s, he dresses in the finest suits and walks with an air of quiet confidence, always calculating, always planning one step ahead. John Slack stands as his counterpart, a robust man of action with hands as calloused as his life is hard. He carries the practicality of the working man, his straightforward nature forming the backbone of their partnership. And then there's Clarence King, the beacon of skepticism amidst the fervor of the gold rush. Esteemed as a geologist, his keen observation skills are matched only by his unwavering commitment to the truth. Step into the San Francisco of 1872, a city humming with the rhythm of transformation. The gold rush's legacy lingers not just in the clamor of its bustling streets, but in the aspirations of those who walk them. As you traverse the city's heart, a symphony of sounds greets you, the rhythmic clatter of horse-drawn carriages and animated negotiations among merchants. The city breathes a life uniquely its own, scented with the sharp tang of the bay and the comforting aroma of fresh sourdough. Witness the mosaic of humanity that weaves the city's vibrant tapestry. Miners, clad in the remnants of their past pursuits, swap yarns of the riches that once called to them. Entrepreneurs with keen eyes for opportunity haggle over the potential of untapped ventures. Immigrants, fueled by tales of prosperity, step off ships with hearts full of hope, gazing upon their new world with wide-eyed wonder. San Francisco's skyline, a tableau of intricate Victorian design, heralds a city in the throes of rapid transformation. But beneath the architectural majesty, a wave of anticipation builds, signaling a collective readiness for the next chapter of prosperity. The city thrums with murmurs of hidden treasures, filling venues from lively saloons to the bustling stock exchange. Each rumor kindles the flame of curiosity, painting the air with the prospects of newfound wealth. This is a city on the edge of a new chapter, ready to chase a promise as alluring as gold. San Francisco stands, a beacon to the bold, the brave, the dreamers and the doers, all poised for a story of audacity that will carve itself into the annals of this storied city. In the shadows, where ambition meets secrecy, Philip Arnold and John Slack are weaving a plot that will send shockwaves through the city. These cousins, detached from the common throng of miners and merchants, are on the cusp of launching a scheme that will become legendary. Philip Arnold, with a history in bookkeeping, wields a mind honed for numbers and a talent for persuasion that could make the most skeptical take pause. His presence carries a mystique, hinting at undisclosed knowledge, at secrets only he can unveil. John Slack complements Arnold's finesse with a miner's calloused hands and an earnestness that speaks volumes in silence. His straightforward nature is the grounding force to Arnold's eloquence, providing their partnership with a credibility as solid as the earth he's dug through. In the seclusion of a room lit by the flicker of candlelight, they meticulously lay out their plans. Maps of the Western Territories unfurl across the table, amidst glinting gemstones that are to become the cornerstone of their deception. Their dialogue, while shrouded in shadows, betrays their ambitions. Arnold speaks with fervor of upending the societal hierarchy that's long excluded them, while Slack's quiet agreement underlines his yearning for stability and comfort. The art of deception, as Arnold well knows, lies not in the lie itself, but in dressing it with the trappings of truth. To sell a lie this grand, we must ensnare the imagination, present a dream so enthralling that it eclipses doubt, he muses. And so, they embark on a venture that will test the very limits of credulity. As we depart from their clandestine meeting, Arnold's parting words linger, a portentous echo through the chamber. We're not merely peddling gemstones, we're crafting visions of opulence. Their plot, audacious in its scope, banks on a simple truth. The most profound deceptions are those we yearn to believe. In a grand drawing room, a crucible of the city's elite, Philip Arnold and John Slack prepare to unveil their vision. They stand as harbingers of a venture that promises to eclipse the riches of famed lore. Ladies and gentlemen, his voice resonates with an unwavering confidence, we are at the precipice of a discovery that will eclipse the legends of old. The crowd leans in, captivated by the unfolding narrative. Picture a domain, pristine and bountiful, where gemstones rival the cosmos in abundance, he entices. The onlookers are captivated, their hearts alight with the splendor of his narrative. Meanwhile, Slack moves quietly among them, the tangible proof of their claim in his grasp, a bag of sparkling gemstones. One by one, the elite feel the weight of the stones, the cool facets of possibility against their skin. Each glinting stone seems to whisper promises of a future draped in luxury. Questions cascade toward Arnold, queries laced with curiosity and a hint of skepticism. And the location? The potential yield? They inquire. Arnold, undeterred, parries each with a response more convincing than the last, weaving a narrative of exclusivity and destiny. This is not merely an investment, it is the key to a legacy, he assures them with a finality that brooks no doubt. As the crowd disperses, a whisper of doubt rustles through the room like an unsettled breeze. A few skeptical glances exchanged, silent questions that pierce the shroud of anticipation. The draw of potential opulence is irresistible, yet the air crackles with the tension of the unspoken and the uncertain. Arnold and Slack, exiting into the embrace of the cool San Francisco night, share a glance that speaks volumes. Their scheme is set in motion, the city's elite now puppets in their grand performance. Unbeknownst to San Francisco, it stands on the verge of an event that will be etched into the very fabric of its history, an extraordinary ruse born from the cunning minds of two men. In stark contrast to the fervor gripping San Francisco, we turn our attention to Clarence King, a man of science and skepticism. As a renowned geologist, King is intrigued yet dubious about Arnold and Slack's claims. His resolve is to uncover the truth behind the glittering promises. King, equipped with his geological tools and a keen sense of observation, sets out on an expedition that takes him to the heart of the wild American West. His journey is a blend of science and adventure, as he traverses challenging terrains in search of the alleged diamond field. Navigating through the rugged landscapes, King confronts not only the physical barriers of the natural world, but also the barriers of doubt within his own mind. Could such a discovery really have eluded us? He wonders each evening as he rests under a canopy of stars, mulling over the day's findings and planning his approach for the next. The expedition takes King through dense forests and over craggy hills. With a critical eye, he scrutinizes the earth, sifting through soil and stone for any sign that might corroborate Arnold and Slack's extraordinary claims. Each sample he collects, every rock he inspects, draws him a step closer to unveiling the reality. A moment of truth arrives as King, perched on a hilltop, surveys a valley that seems to mirror the description offered by Arnold and Slack. The potential of a discovery that could redefine the century quickens his pulse. Yet, descending into the valley, the geologist's practiced gaze discerns anomalies, inconsistencies that hint at manipulation, at artifice. By the conclusion of his investigation, King is laden with evidence and the heavy burden of a truth that will dismantle the dreams of many. His journey back to San Francisco is laden with the gravity of his findings. He is acutely aware that his report will not merely disappoint but reveal a deception that has ensnared a city's imagination. The revelation of a diamond field has catapulted San Francisco into a state of feverish anticipation. The whispers of riches beyond the gold rush have permeated every corner of the city, from the grand salons of Nob Hill to the teeming wharves of the Embarcadero. The very idea of the diamond field has become the pulse of the city, its heartbeat quickening with every mention. In the city's vibrant core, the frenzy escalates with each passing moment. Entrepreneurs with eyes gleaming with greed, daring adventurers with nothing to lose, and everyday folk with their modest savings, all are swept up in the surge of excitement. The promise of diamonds injects a potent vitality into the city's veins, with storefronts hastily assembling displays of mining equipment, and the press churning out one sensational headline after another. Yet, within this chorus of ecstasy, a dissonant note can be heard. Here and there, seasoned miners furrow their brows in skepticism, and wary investors murmur reservations. But their voices of prudence are like whispers against a storm, overwhelmed by the clamor of a city too enchanted by dreams of splendor. The city's collective imagination, once buoyant with dreams of affluence, now faces the prospect of a stark new reality. Discussions around hearths and in smoky parlors weigh the gamble of it all. The vision of the diamond fields, once emblematic of unbridled prosperity, now reflects the duality of hope and potential disillusionment. But beneath the surface, unease stirs. The astute begin to notice oddities and contradictions in the narrative spun by Arnold and Slack. Whispered conversations hint at the possibility of deceit, and slowly the seeds of doubt take root in the minds of a few. The return of Clarence King to San Francisco serves as the prelude to an impending climax. His somber demeanor stands in stark contrast to the city's exuberant spirit. In his hands lies a truth that holds the power to dissolve the illusions that have enthralled a city. King, standing at the precipice of revelation, readies himself to unveil a reality that contrasts starkly with the city's fevered dreams. The anticipation of wealth, once ablaze across San Francisco, is on the brink of being doused by the cold truth. Clarence King's return to San Francisco casts a long shadow over the city's diamond-infused euphoria. The city, alive with tales of untold riches, remains oblivious to the tempest that King's presence heralds. A man of esteemed repute in the geological sphere, King convenes a meeting that draws investors and the curious alike into an assembly swelled with anticipation. They gather in a vast hall, a collective breath held in wait for King's pronouncement. When King steps up to address the assembly, his solemn demeanor casts a hush over the throng. "Ladies and gentlemen," he begins, the gravity in his tone anchoring the room, "the discovery we've all embraced is, in stark truth, a carefully orchestrated fiction." A palpable shockwave reverberates through the crowd, silence giving way to a cacophony of disbelief. Methodically, King lays out his evidence, each point a nail in the coffin of the Great Deception. The geological signs don't align, the diamonds too perfectly arrayed. With every revelation, the fabric of the dream unravels, leaving a raw sense of anger and a profound sense of betrayal. Amidst the stunned audience, a young entrepreneur who had staked everything on the diamond fields. His expression, a tapestry of heartbreak and disillusionment, mirrors the collective grief of a city betrayed. As news of the hoax tears through the city, the mood turns somber. The vibrant streets of San Francisco, once abuzz with excitement, now echo with the hollow sounds of disappointment and frustration. Investors face the grim reality of their losses, while the masses grapple with a cocktail of relief that it wasn't worse than the residual sting of having been fooled. Arnold and Slack, the architects of the grand charade, now wear the visage of desperation. With their grand illusion shattered, they scramble to escape the wrath of a city they once held in the palm of their hand. The once united citizens of San Francisco pick up the pieces of their fractured trust. The Great Diamond Hoax, a saga of aspiration and avarice, leaves an indelible mark on the soul of the city, a collective dream, dissolved into the bitter reality of human nature's flaws. After the duplicitous scheme that enthralled and scandalized 1870s San Francisco, culprit Philip Arnold returned home to Elizabethtown, Kentucky, seeking respite. There he turned his cunning to legitimate business, reinventing himself as a prosperous banker and landowner. Having amassed significant funds from his diamond deception, Arnold settled in a large brick mansion grandly christened Diamond Palace, an enduring nod to the source of his newfound wealth. He lived as a respectable financier until a violent confrontation in 1878 tragically ended this storyteller's own tall tales. With far less fanfare, Arnold's silent partner in deceit John Slack retreated from the limelight after news of their colossal hoax spread nationwide. Slack drifted to White Oaks, New Mexico to live out his days in anonymity, far from public fury over the scheme that once fueled San Francisco's wildest dreams. Taking on a quiet job as the local carpenter and casket maker, he found both labor and obscurity, spending his final years known only for craftsmanship rather than cunning. In contrast, geologist Clarence King emerged as a revered public figure in the wake of the diamond hoax. Lauded for his scientific rigor and commitment to factual evidence throughout the melodramatic ordeal, King became renowned nationwide as a voice of integrity. His fame as an unflappable beacon of truth led to his appointment as the first director of the prestigious U.S. Geological Survey. Up until his passing in 1901, King enjoyed status as one of America's most distinguished men of science, synonymous with an unrelenting pursuit of knowledge.